All right, here we go. Joining me now, Mike Davis. Welcome to the Alec Show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. I know our time is short, so let's get right to it. You had the star witness, Michael Cohen, testifying in front of the court. What's your reaction to his testimony so far?
Well, he's not credible. I mean, this is a convicted perjurer. He's a disbarred attorney. He's a serial perjurer, and he has an axe to grind. He's making money selling TikTok videos trashing Trump, and he has an axe to grind. We've heard testimony that he's very upset that when President Trump became the president, he didn't bring Michael Cohen into the White House with him. So he has a motive here. And regardless, if even if all this is true, that Trump settled this nuisance claim with Stormy Daniels to make her go away, it's not a crime, right? It is not a crime for a business person to settle a nuisance claim. I've been a lawyer for almost 20 years. It is routine that business people settle nuisance claims, and they sign non-disclosure agreements as part of that. Gag or hush money, gag orders, whatever you want to call it. This is a ridiculous case against President Trump brought by a Soros-funded Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, who campaigned on getting Trump. You have this senior Biden Justice Department political appointee, former Democrat National Committee political consultant, former Obama White House and Justice Department political appointee, Matthew Colangelo, getting deployed from the Biden Justice Department, the #3 office, to bring this BS case against Trump that the prior Manhattan DA, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Alvin Bragg himself declined to bring. They brought this case from a 2017 bookkeeping issue because they say that settling a nuisance claim and calling it a legal expense is somehow not a legal expense. I don't know what else you would call it. And they're trying to say that 2017 booking of this legal expense in his private books, not even for public consumption, was somehow interfered in the campaign of 2016. It's just a nonsense legal theory. We're actually in week 5 of this trial, and they're not even telling the criminal defendant or the public what the legal theory actually is. And we're in front of this corrupt Manhattan Judge Juan Merchan, who donated to Biden, who donated to another anti-Trump cause, whose adult daughter, Lauren Merchan, is a Democrat campaign consultant and fundraiser who's raised millions of dollars off this unprecedented criminal prosecution over which her father is presiding and requires his recusal under New York statute, and he's refusing to recuse. Instead, he's imposing this illegal and constitutional gag order, threatening to jail Trump if he mentions anything we just discussed.
Just what you're saying there too, that the fact that this guy has a daughter that's been donating here, they're helping the opposition for President Donald Trump. Where is everybody? I know I heard you on Steve Bannon on the War Room. Where are the House Republicans? Why is nothing being done? Everything is always on offense for the other side. They stack the deck against Donald Trump with this BS case. But where is our side? Where is the Republicans to stand up and point out all this stuff and take some action?
Yeah, that's the problem is we've had 22 months of this Republic ending lawfare by these Democrats, this election interference and Republican ending lawfare. And since the Mar-a-Lago raid for presidential records, President Trump is allowed to have in the office of former president under the Presidential Records Act. And the House Republicans have been in hiding. And, they'll come out and they'll send a few tweets, or they'll do a media hit, or they'll send a letter, or maybe even a subpoena, but it's far and few between. That the Democrats are waging lawfare run by Joe Biden out of his White House. His fingerprints are on all 4 of these unprecedented criminal prosecutions, with Deputy White House Counsel Jonathan Sue orchestrating the Mar-a-Lago raid, which led to the January 6th indictment by Jack Smith and Jay Bratz, along with the Mar-a-Lago presidential records indictment. You have Matthew Colangelo deploying from the Biden Justice Department to bring this current case in New York. And you had Nathan Wade, Fannie Willis's dumb, unqualified boyfriend, billing 16 hours of his time to the Fulton County taxpayers at $250 an hour to meet and coordinate and collude with the Biden White House, including the Biden White House counsel, before Fannie Willis brought her dumb indictment against Trump. This is part of Biden's unprecedented lawfare and election interference. And where are House Republicans?
Silence. There's just snores coming from the House Republicans. And then also, too, to your point here, you said you'll be a lawyer for 20 years. Was it a normal practice for you to secretly record your clients and then use that to go in black? Is that like a normal practice for lawyers to do? And even the recording from what we heard, we hear that Trump didn't seem to know what the hell was going on. He's like, what finances? What are you talking about? And then he says, we'll pay cash. No, I'll take care of it. So number one, is it normal practice to secretly record clients? And number two, does the recordings prove anything?
No, they don't have a case here. Again, even if Trump authorized this payment of this nuisance claim, it's not a crime. It is not a crime to settle a nuisance claim. And it's not a bookkeeping crime to put the settlement of a nuisance claim in your records as a legal expense. What the hell else would you call a settlement of a nuisance claim other than a legal expense, right? This is and even if that were a bookkeeping misdemeanor, which it's not, the statute of limitations has long since passed against a bookkeeping misdemeanor from 2017 that somehow interfered in the election in 2016, even though it was a year later and it was in his private books, not publicly disclosed. I mean, it's a head scratcher, and it's a head scratcher even to this judge and these prosecutors, because they have not even explained to Trump after 4 weeks of trial what the legal allegations are against him.
What would have been the correct way to mark this down? If they're saying that it's not legal expense, have anybody offered anything of what else? Like you said, what else would you put it at? What would be the alternative? What would have been acceptable to mark this thing down as? What would it be?
It would have been, don't run for president, and then we won't come after you, because that's what this is all about. He ran for president again, and so they're running this unprecedented lawfare and election interference because they fear American voters on November 5th, 2024, and they should. According to the New York Times own polling out today, Trump is beating Biden like a drum in every swing state. This lawfare and election interference is backfiring. It's backfiring spectacularly. That is what the Article 3 project predicted and made happen starting 22 months ago, with over 3,500 media hits supporting and defending Trump, constant social media, constant opinion pieces. We've turned lemons into lemonade. This is backfiring badly. They have turned Trump into a victim. They've done the impossible. They've turned Trump into a sympathetic figure, and they're going to put him back in the White House. So they thought that they were just going to run this lawfare and they were going to make Trump the nominee, and he was going to be weak and wounded and lose badly. Look, these Democrats are even managed to lose their black base that votes. They make up 13% of the population. They vote 95% Democrat. That number now is around 80%, maybe even lower. There's no chance that Democrats can win if black support is below 85%.
I think we're going to be seeing one of the biggest landslide victories since Reagan here. I think we're going to see a Reagan-esque type of domination in this year. I don't see how anybody could go the other way. But the point, the Democrats are so desperate that they're willing, like people are in such denial, like to get Trump, that their star witnesses here is a convicted felon and a porn star. And the Democrats are justifying, well, this is okay because it's that bad to get Trump. Even if he didn't do anything wrong, they feel like it's justified to get him because he's that bad. And they're willing to go along with any ride possible as long as it sees him on the negative side.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that people see right through this. You have these Trump deranged, highly partisan operatives in Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo and this Juan Merchan, this judge who's corrupt, he's conflicted. He has to recuse under New York statute. His daughter is fundraising off this trial, requiring his recusal. The New York statute requires recusal for 6 degrees of separation. His daughter is in the 1st degree of separation. This isn't just crazy Mike Davis saying this. A former federal Clinton-appointed judge in New York went on Caitlin Collins' show on CNN on April 5th and said that Judge Juan Merchan has to recuse because of his daughter's fundraising. And not only did he not recuse, he expanded the gag order. He is threatening to put Trump in jail if Trump merely mentions or even posts a news story mentioning Juan Merchan's daughter, Lauren Merchan, or Matthew Colangelo, or Stormy Daniels, or Michael Cohen, or even the fact that the Manhattan jury pool is 87% is comprised 87% of Biden voters. Somehow that violates a gag order. Gag orders are supposed to protect criminal defendants during their criminal prosecution. They are limited time, place, and manner restrictions to protect the criminal defendants' constitutional rights. And what they've done here, this judge and these prosecutors have turned the Constitution on its head by gagging a criminal defendant. You have witnesses, their star witnesses, Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels, who should be gagged to protect the defendant's constitutional rights are actually making money on TikTok and Twitter trashing Trump, and they're not gagged. And if Trump responds, he gets thrown in jail. This is just blatantly unconstitutional. It's actually a criminal conspiracy under federal civil rights statutes under 18 USC 241. It is a conspiracy against rights by these Democrat judges and lawyers and witnesses and operatives in these Democrat hellholes to interfere in the election.
Would love to see some action taken on that, but it's like, just like Donald Trump, he points out the fact that there's some, look at what's going on here with the judge, with his daughter, and just for pointing that out, they gagged him. Same thing we had with Ukraine when he made the call to Zelensky. Hey, there might be some corruption here. Can you look into it? They impeached him. So instead of looking at the actual corruption, they go after Trump instead. But I know we're coming up against it here. What was your take on? You see, Senator J.D. Vance, Senator Tuberville, they're out there in support of President Trump. Is this good to see? Should we see more of that? What's your take on what you saw?
I think JD and Tuberville are great for doing what they're doing. We need more Republicans out there forcefully defending Trump. We need House Republicans actually issuing subpoenas for documents and for testimony, staff depositions, public hearings. Again, these Biden Democrats have walked through an open door, and that's why we are in the middle of this Republic ending lawfare by Democrats. Week 4 of this trial. Are these Democrats really? I mean, this jury is so rigged. The jury pool in Manhattan voted 87% for Biden, and then this judge and prosecutors rigged the jury selection process where they weed out people who follow Trump on social media, but not Biden. So the 3 people in Manhattan who follow Trump on social media can get kicked out of the jury selection process and just stack it with all these Biden operatives. They're going to find them guilty, and this judge and these prosecutors are going to try to throw them in prison.
That was going to be my last question there. I know we know that the deck is stacked against them here, but how do you see it play? You see a guilty conviction coming? Is that what we should be bracing for? Brace for impact?
There's no chance that Trump's guilty of anything. They can't even say what the legal allegations are against him. But because this process is so rigged and corrupt in Manhattan with Juan Merchan, his daughter fundraising, the jury selection process rigged, the prosecutors with their biases from the Biden White House, the Obama White House. These are Republican tactics, and this is why members of Congress, these House Republicans and Senate Republicans, must stand up now.
Yeah, very well said, Mike. I know we're up against it. I'd love to have you back on down the line anytime. I got the Article 3 project down there in the description below. Mike Davis, thanks for giving me a few minutes of your time today on the Alec Show.
Thank you so much.